Hey everyone and welcome. Ever find yourself staring into your fridge and wondering, how do I actually talk about what's inside in English? Well, today we're going to tackle just that. We're diving into some super useful words that'll help you talk about how much or how many of something you've got.
All right, so let's imagine this. It's the end of a long day, you're getting pretty hungry, and you're thinking, okay, time to make some dinner.
But hold on. Before you can cook anything, you've got to check what you actually have, right? So you swing open that fridge door and boom. This is exactly where these special little words we're talking about today come into play.
So, here's what we've got on the menu for today. First, we'll listen to a quick conversation. Then, we'll break down words for small amounts, then big amounts, questions, and saying no. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with the rules in a nutshell. Sound good? Let's jump in.
Okay, first up, the conversation. We're going to listen in on two people figuring out what to make for dinner. As you listen, keep an eye on those words that pop up in bold. They're the important ones.
I'm making dinner tonight. Do we have any vegetables?
Yes, we have some carrots and a few tomatoes.
Great. Do we have any juice?
Only a little juice in the fridge.
Okay, I'll buy a lot of fruit for dessert. Good idea. We don't need much sugar for the cake. So did you catch all those? Any, some, a few, a little, a lot of, much, a lot going on there. Okay, let's unpack what it all means.
All right, let's start with talking about small amounts. We heard a few and a little. Now, to really get the difference between these two, we need to quickly talk about two different kinds of nouns.
First up, we have what we call countable nouns. And honestly, the name says it all, right? These are just things you can count. 1 tomato, 2 tomatoes, 3 tomatoes. You get the idea. Easy peasy.
And then you've got the other kind, uncountable nouns. These are the things you can't really count one by one. You know, stuff like juice, water, sugar, or rice. You wouldn't say, I have 3 juices. You'd say, I have 3 cartons of juice. We measure this stuff, we don't count it.
So, what does this have to do with a few and a little? Well, it's actually super simple. You use a few with those countable things. Remember the conversation? We have a few tomatoes. And you use a little with the uncountable stuff, like we have a little juice. So here's the golden rule. If you can count it, it's a few. If you can't, it's a little. That's it.
Awesome. So we've got small amounts covered. Now let's move on to the big stuff and what to say when you're asking a question or saying no.
And you know what? This works with the exact same logic. For things you can count, we use many. Like you'd ask, how many sandwiches should I make? For the things you can't count, we use much, especially when we're saying no to something. Just like in the conversation, we don't need much sugar. See? Same rule, different words.
Okay, now here's a real game changer. A lot of. This one is your best friend because it's so easy. You can use it with literally everything, both countable and uncountable nouns. I'll buy a lot of fruit. I'll buy a lot of carrots. It doesn't matter. It just works. So when in doubt, a lot of is a great choice.
All right, last pair, some and any. This one isn't about counting. It's all about whether your sentence is positive, negative, or a question. It's pretty straightforward. You use some for positive sentences when you're saying, yes, we have this, like, we have some carrots. But the second you ask a question or say no, you have to switch to any. Do we have any vegetables? We don't have any juice. So some for yes, any for questions, and no.
Whoa, that was a lot of info, I know. So let's just put all the rules together in one quick summary.
Okay, check out this table. It's basically everything we just talked about. You've got some for the positive sentences and any for the questions and negatives. Then you've got your pairs for countable things, a few for small amounts and many for big amounts. And for uncountable stuff, you've got a little for small and much for big. And of course, there's our easy peasy one, a lot of, which you can use for everything.
So here's what it all boils down to. Next time you're talking about food and you're not sure which word to use, just run through this mental checklist. First question, can I count this thing or not? Is it countable or uncountable? And the second question, am I saying something positive, negative, or am I asking a question? If you can answer those two questions, you'll pick the right word every single time.
All right, enough listening to me. Now it's your turn. I want you to go look in your own fridge right now. Seriously, what do you have? Do you have many eggs? Do you have much milk? Maybe you have a lot of cheese. Try to make some sentences out loud. It's honestly the best way to make this stuff stick.
Thanks for hanging out with me today.